Hey there cats, good time of the day to you and thank you for tuning into my channel. Today I'm giving you one mission from a rather obscure game named Submarine, also known as U Underwater Unit in Japan. And well, what can I say? I've chosen mission 05 for this video because I feel that this is one of the missions that give the atmosphere of the game, transfer the atmosphere of the game in one of the best ways possible. The entire mission is set in the cave, and so you cannot really surface, and therefore, since it is a rather tight cave, it gives a kind of a claustrophobic feeling, and it works. I mean, feelings like that, well, some people do feel them from the games. Like, I'm somewhat scared of Ace Combat games, just because I am so much scared of heights that even pixelated heights and flying on a very pixelated plane kind of scares me from time to time. And so Submarine, yeah, if you're claustrophobic, it can give that kind of feelings. Or at least I think so. As for myself personally, I feel myself quite alright in the submarine and in a cave like this. And still, you know, I think this is the level which transfers this feeling, you know, how to put it, in the most, you know, transfer this feeling the most, yeah, something along those lines. And so, the game itself, I've already mentioned Ace Combat, and I feel like the game itself is somewhat comparable with Ace Combat. If you've flew in airships instead of planes. This submarine, it quite resembles the airship movement in the air. It is slow, it is, yeah, it doesn't hurry anywhere, so the game itself is very meditative. If you're planning on playing this, well, this is one of the shortest missions possible, and it lasts 16 minutes, which says something. And this, I've also picked this mission, by the way, because it has one of the easiest maps possible. I still did not remember this map by heart, did not, you know, learn this map by heart. I've actually drew this map on a piece of paper, which is lying nearby, and I'm using this piece of paper in order to not get lost, you know. In all the other missions you will likely constantly press pause in order to look at the map, in order to, you know, orient itself around, or orient itself, you know, help yourself with the orientation, something like that, you know. And yeah, it takes some time, so even when a mission says it lasts about 16 minutes, it still takes you about 20-22, because you pressing pause constantly, you're pressing pause every second minute or so just to figure out where you are. And all in all, 21 missions in this game, and in general they last about half an hour. So yeah, this game is kind of long, and mostly because the submarine is slow. One of the things that drag on the game even further are the artifacts, and the artifacts, as you can see, are the things that are excavate. They show up as purple thingies, purple diamonds on my sonar, and then I shoot that stuff and pick up the artifact that surfaces. These artifacts, they actually have a use. If you collect them all, they unlock the ultimate secondary weapon for you, and collecting them all is quite a drag, because, you know, you gotta spend a lot of time around the map in order to find them all, and in order to pick up them all. So this is one of the reasons why I've decided to make this video and put a 100% save game online. In fact, it might be much more interesting to go through the game without collecting all the artifacts, and you know, therefore, if you don't want to collect these artifacts, which you probably do not want, I know I do not want. If I've had an option, I'd likely pick up a 100% save game myself. So you can just go into the missions, complete the objectives, and go through the plot of the game without spending your time, wasting your time on these artifacts. This will likely speed up the game considerably. I believe I spend about like 10 minutes in every mission on average in order to collect artifacts. Likely even more in the open world missions. It's like 10 minutes here because it's a cave, so yeah, it's kinda easy to check out all the caverns and collect all the artifacts. But on the open world maps, collecting artifacts can easily take 20 minutes, so perhaps even more. So yeah, collecting artifacts is a drag. I've enjoyed it, but I understand that a lot of people might not enjoy it. And I know I myself, even though I've enjoyed it, I think I've enjoyed it, you know, yeah, it's all in all, it's a dubious experience. I cannot say that I haven't enjoyed it, but at the same time, if I had, as I've said, if I've had an option for 100% save game, I'd rather do the save game, even though I've enjoyed it. So yeah, overall, still, you gotta prepare yourself for something like this. Slow submarine if you want to play this game, you know? Slow submarine which, you know, buzzes around, not hurrying anywhere, and this quiet pinging of the sonar. Occasionally some background music. This mission in particular doesn't even have this music, only this awkward sound of the mysterious artifact which you have to uncover, which is once again is a reason because of which I think this mission kind of shows the atmosphere of the game in the best possible way, because it even doesn't have no music, it only this pinging of the sonar, the sound of your submarine moving, and this weird sound of the mysterious artifact that it is emitting in the background. Yeah, so it's a great mission, really. Overall, though, artifacts, you know, even though I've kinda said that artifacts are, you know, collecting them is mediocre, artifacts themselves are kind of cool things, you know, because I've spent some time reading their descriptions and looking at their small thumbnails, and the developers of the game clearly spent some time into thinking about all this stuff. I mean, kind of, how to put it? Well, I'll just provide some examples. This is the ones I've noticed. There might be more. I'm not that much an expert on the ancient speculative history, so to say, but here are the things I've noticed. The thumbnail from the ancient battery artifact definitely resembles the Baghdad battery, which is, you know, kind of a weird artifact, and nobody really knows what it was used for, but some people say that it was an ancient battery. Why ancient people would need batteries if they do not have electricity is nobody knows, you know, is a mystery, but that's why Baghdad battery is such a famous artifact. It's probably less pseudo-scientific of the bunch as well. Some other examples are the snake-shaped light, which is obviously a reference to the ancient Egyptian light, Dendera light. And by light, I'm meaning a light bulb. So snake-shaped light bulb is ancient Egyptian light bulb. And I think an artifact which is named in the game as gold shuttlecock actually resembles the planes from Kimbaya artifacts, also known as, I believe, Otun birds, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this is kind of stuff which you can find in this game, and all this pseudo-scientific explanation for those artifacts is an actual explanation, factual explanation for those artifacts in this game, and you know, I found it's kind of cool. It's a small detail, but I really like small details like that. Oh, still, yeah, collecting those artifacts, it can be a drag. It can be a drag. It doesn't help that the submarine itself is kinda slow. Here I'm using probably the fastest engine in the game. I mean, not probably, but definitely the fastest engine in the game. And when I've used the very first engine, and I knew that there will be faster engine, I you know, I've read, you know, I found a list of unlocks online, of a list of unlockables online, and so I knew there got to be a faster engine, and so I waited for it. I really waited for it, because first engine, it dragged my submarine across the depths of the ocean at the speed of 41 kilometers per hour, and I was like, damn, I gotta get that faster engine. Like, you know, maybe then the game will be actually a bit less of drag. And I'm getting the second engine, and boom, I'm getting fucking 7.5 kilometers of speed. So instead of 41 kilometers of speed, I'm now at 48.5. That's fucking terrific. So yeah, even the fastest engine in the game doesn't give you much speed, so your submarine, as I've said, it really feels like an airship. And to actually boost this feeling that you are flying in a Kirov and you know, just, you know, do not report to anyone, but still, that was a lame attempt at a joke, but whatever. To reinforce that feeling that you're flying in an airship named Kirov is the fact that you actually have a booster. A booster which can replace your extra weapon, so to say, secondary weapon as I've called it. It's not really... we have primary weapon, we have torpedoes, well yeah, secondary weapon, yeah. So I have nuclear bomb now, and instead I can take a booster. It's kind of, you know, it is called cavity boost in this game, so it's kind of nitros for your submarine, which can be used 3 times during the mission, and yeah, they give you 2 times the boost, but only for a very limited amount of time, and only 3 times during the mission, so yeah, not much of a boost overall. So those moments when you actually use those cavity boosts and your submarine takes up to 18 kilometers per hour, it actually feels that you're getting somewhere for once. But if you feel like it is time in your life for a slow meditative game, because, you know, it was time in my life which I feel that I can use something slow. As a fan of racing games, it doesn't happen too often, but I dropped into Sub-Rebellion. I've took through the first 2 missions, and I've thought like, yeah, I can use something slow. I can use Sub-Rebellion. And so, yeah, here I am with a 100% save game. So as I've said, if you feel like there is a time in your life where you can use some slow meditative save game, this can be a game just for you. You may have to replace several missions, because if you plan to collect the relics on yourself, and this is by the way one more reason for you to grab a 100% save game. Relics, they might not drop in some missions. Some particular relics, they might not drop in some particular missions, because particular relics only drop in particular missions. So, see where I'm getting at? And those relics, they are random, they might not drop, and you might have to replay a particular mission a couple times. In my walkthrough, I've mostly got lucky and all the relics dropped, except for one, for which I've had to replay a mission 3 times. Luckily it was a short mission which lasted only 10 minutes, it was mission number 2. So yeah, still, one thing I really do not like is replaying missions which I've already played through, so that was probably the biggest minus of the whole game, the need to replay several missions in order to get 100%. The other minus which I have easily overcome is this sonar, which is constantly pinging on my screen and making polygons appear, you know? So you actually have to execute it manually by pressing X on your gamepad. And you know what? The game doesn't let you just press and hold the X button. You actually have to press the X button again and again in order for the sonar to work, and you gotta have it working constantly. Otherwise you wouldn't see anything on the map. And yeah, I've made macros for it, for the sonar to ping every 1.5 seconds or so. I've used deplete macro recorder for it, and it is a really simple macros, which is easily made. It's simply 2 delays and a key pressed command. So yeah, this is kind of a must-have if you want to play this game. So learn to do an easy macros or ask me in the commentary and I will happily provide. But as I've said, macros is a must-have. And overall, you may have to apply more cheats because the game gets hard. Several last missions, they can become very hard. I've started to hack my shields somewhere in mission 17, I believe, or 18, but yeah, last 3 or 4 missions, they can be very hard. It might be a challenge though. I'm not, by the way, was there a difficulty? Can you choose a difficulty in this game? I don't quite remember, but if there is, I'm playing on normal. So yeah, even on normal, the game can be very hard. Still, you might provide yourself a challenge, though I think the last mission is almost impossible without cheating. If you need to hack your shields, the shields are 4 bytes value, and the value for the full shields, which you have to search for in the start of the mission, is 3000, and you go from there with cheat engine. Still, the most important cheat in the whole game is the macros for the sonar. So yeah, prize emulators, because macros are impossible on PlayStation 2. Oh well, this is all I've got for you, cats. Stay cool. Good luck.